All right, so welcome everyone. So my name is Gemma Sidor. I am the president-elect of the Dominican Bar Association of Attorneys. And tonight's session, we're going to be talking about just a general overview of our committees and the different committees that we have available. In the invite for this event, there was a link on to our website, which lists out all of the committees that we currently have. A lot of those committees come from our bylaws, but we do have the discretion, and next year's board and the vice president, who we still haven't elected yet, has a discretion to appoint new committee chairs, and we also have the discretion to create new committees. So if you are interested in starting a committee that is not already on the list, you can certainly do that. And in the link that I put into the chat, and which will be available on our social medias and websites after this session, you can provide a suggestion if you're interested in starting a new committee and chairing a new committee. So with us tonight, we have a few members of the DBA who have participated in committees before, and perhaps they can share a little bit about their experience. And if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat so that we can answer those questions as well in case something hasn't come up. Again, the committee descriptions are available on our website. And I think one of the biggest questions is, what's the time commitment in the committee? And it really just varies depending on what committee you choose to be in and how many times they meet. So for example, our scholarship applicant review committee, we met maybe like once or twice total in the entire year, but we did a lot of the review of the applicants offline. So I don't know if maybe we can start with somebody here. Let's say Rose, do you want to maybe talk about a committee that you were a part of? Maybe introduce yourself to the group and tell us what committee you participated in and who you are.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Rosemary Belliard. You guys can call me Rose. I am been a longtime DBA member, board member and member, going back to when I was a law student. Currently, I practice immigration law. I'm actually just started a new role at Gibney, Anthony, and Flaherty in their immigration practice group. So I specialize in corporate immigration, but in this new role, I've also taken on the pro bono practice area. So kind of dipping my hands into two practice areas, which is kind of what I've been passionate about over the last decade. So naturally, I am involved with the Immigration and Nationality Law Committee, which is a committee that we actually started last year, which I felt was important given one, the demographics in New York City with regards to immigrants. We have a very high percentage of a foreign-born population. 40% of New York City is made up of immigrants. There's also, of course, the dynamic of the lack of representation in this practice area. So there's like a contrast, right, of like the types of demographics that are being represented by basically non-immigrants attorneys. So the whole purpose of our committee is really to promote and advance the practice of immigration and nationality law through a variety of things. And just to keep it brief, we've this past year have held events to sort of recap, right, changes in the immigration law. So for example, for the first 100 days of the Biden administration, we did a review of what are the changes that were implemented. And that was a really successful event and timely and relevant. So moving to just different other types of, other types of events that we've had in addition to like the substantive part, we also like to highlight and recognize immigration lawyers. This fall, we had an event on Latinas who practice immigration law, where we, Dorian, who's on the call, participated in, and it was a really great event because we got to, one, connect immigration lawyers, and we also spoke about our experiences, which is very unique. The whole goal of, an event like that is to build community and to connect with each other, with this whole lack of representation, with the diversity component, right? We have to kind of like, take the initiative and find ways to connect. So those are just two examples. We've also done kind of like Know Your Rights in Spanish and like community based organizations, specifically in Washington Heights. I think that the future of this committee is really whatever the committee members kind of want to make of it. I've been trying to recruit people to join, and actually from those events have connected with people and have included them in some of the planning for next year. But if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I think that if you're interested, you don't have to practice immigration law. You just want to be a part of it, or you want to transition into it, I think that there's so much room to make things happen. So we are super excited to hear from you all, and to just get you involved with this committee.
And how often would you say your committee met and or took to plan, let's say, one event?
So I would say that in the beginning, I was kind of spearheading the entire thing myself. And because I have experience planning events, it wasn't time consuming. But ideally in a more formal setting, which is kind of like what's ideal for committees to have, I think that, first just identifying how many events you want to have in a year. And then sort of meeting based off of around those objectives and those goals. But since I was pretty much spearheading the whole thing, I kind of just did one every 2 or 3 months. So that's kind of the structure that I followed, but could definitely use more structure and more bodies.
Always. Thank you so much, Rose. And again, if you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat and we'll circle back to Rose. Maybe Jeff, do you want to talk about a committee that you worked on and introduce yourself, please?
Sure. So hi, everybody. My name is Jeffrey Saedra. I'm a 6th year associate at Deckert. I'm in the finance and real estate group. I am the outgoing vice president of the DBA, and then I'll be president-elect for 2022. And so as outgoing or as vice president, I oversaw the committees. I probably could have done a better job at getting involved in a lot of the hard work that Rose did, and some of the other committees, but I kind of just served as, to the extent that any of the committees needed any additional assistance, I served as that assistance. And then I also was a part of the scholarship committee and the gala committee. And so for the scholarship committee, I think it's my 3rd year on it. And I think it's a really awesome way to get involved in something that has like a very structured amount of commitment. You basically have to review the scholarship applications that come in, and then we meet one time to vote on the recipients. And so it's on your own time. And so it's very easy to kind of structure your schedule around that. With the gala committee, it's sort of a little bit more time consuming because we're planning the biggest event of the year for the DBA. But on the flip side, it's also a little bit more like second half of the year heavy. So depending on your workflow, that's something to keep in mind. So I think as Rose mentioned, it depends on the committee that you're working on. with regard to time commitment. But if there is a particular committee that any of you are interested in, I would encourage you to reach out to one of us and we can give you a more direct answer on what time commitments for that particular committee would traditionally be like. I think the goal would be to have at least one event, hopefully more than that, but at least one event for each of our major committees. So if that also helps answer the question of like what you'd be doing throughout the year, that would be the goal. I think that's it for me.
Great, thank you. Dorian, I see you there. Would you like to maybe add to what Rose had said and give your experience with the committee?
Yes, of course. So I'm Dorian Rojas. I am a supervising attorney at Safe Horizon, and I serve in the DBA now as I'm going to be in the board of directors, but I guess I served as the co-chair of the community outreach committee, and it was a pretty busy committee, I would say. We did a lot of service. I would say one of our staple, I guess, events, because we had it every month, was an outreach series. And what we did was monthly Know Your Rights virtually on a lot of different topics. So sometimes we did immigration law, and I believe I did that one. We had other DBA members join us and do family law, landlord tenant, and we were trying to get criminal law one, which hopefully whoever continues on the committee does that moving forward. The purpose really this or like our main focus of the community this year was to build partnerships because community outreach could mean like everything. So we wanted to expand even outside of kind of like legal world. So one of the other partnerships that we forged was with Metropolitan Hospital. This year, the CEO of Metropolitan Hospital is the first woman and the first of Dominican heritage. So we formed a partnership with her. And we had our vaccine day. So that was pretty awesome. Also trying to raise awareness in the community, trying to get people vaccinated and just raise awareness of health causes and, public health things. And the other partnership, I think that we really, the Dominican Bar Association has always had a relationship kind of with the Dominican Consulate, but we formed a partnership with the Index, which is kind of the group that works towards fostering kind of the advancement of people of Dominican heritage in the exterior. So really working with them to just like serve the community and anything they need. And when we mean community service, it means everything. One of the things that I really wanted to do, but we were really busy because I was the co-chair, Bernardo was the chair, and then Dorani was all about community service. So a lot of people were doing different things, but I wanted to do kind of like a full drive volunteer day. So really, if you join the community, it can be anything that you want it to be. If you have an idea or you formed a relationship, especially with a social services organization, and you're like, hey, they want to partner with us and we want to do something, you really can make it whatever you want it to be. I would say we met personally, we met like maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but that's because once we did the outreach series, it was kind of planned already for the first 6 months of it. But you can meet as often as you'd like, right? If you have a new idea, we could just say, hey, can we, hop on a call real quick? Everybody was very like open to serve and happy about planning different events. So the time commitment is as much as you'd like to be involved, I would say. But it was really rewarding. And I think you create a lot of partnerships, and you also got kind of DBA's name out there. Like they know what we do besides, legal work, which is nice.
Sounds great. Thank you. Did I miss anybody? I think Jasmine, if you're free, I can see you here.
I am free.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I only have my mic and my camera muted because my daughter's running around. So I'm just gonna turn on the lights. I'm sorry, guys.
I can imagine.
I have a 3-year-old, so I'll be brief. I am the principal law clerk to Justice Ventura. I co-chair the Young Lawyers Committee, I believe, and the Law Student Committee. And through that committee, the we did the Fabiola Soto internship, and like everyone said, I think it really is about how much you want to put into the committee and what you want to bring to the table. I co-chaired that committee with Janice and Peter. Janice has 2 kids. I have a child, and so obviously we were always mindful of like meeting. We try to be accommodating. So I'm sure if you want to join a committee, whichever committee you're on, everyone will work with you and make sure that there's availability to make sure you can be on the committee and actually be engaged. The time commitment for the Fabiola Soto internship really was, I want to say 2 or 3 times a month leading up to the internship launch, and then after that we haven't met. So I feel like right before any event, obviously you're expected to kind of all hands on deck and be available, but for the most part we were able to do whatever we needed to do outside of meeting, with the exception of reviewing the internship applicants and recruiting judges. So yeah, I think if anyone's interested in joining either the law student committee or the young lawyer committee, if you have any ideas, obviously we would love to open the floor for that. I would love personally to maybe have an in-person networking young lawyers event, or a mentorship event this year. I know last year everything was virtual, so it would be nice to be able to see everyone in person. So hi everyone also, by the way, who's on. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Jasmine. Atenedoro, I don't know if you are able to speak, because I know sometimes we jump on. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Sorry for the audio because I'm on the bus. I'm
Okay.
at the Gonzalez. For those who don't know, I'm general counsel to a city council member in the Bronx District District. In terms of the DBA, I've been recording secretary and vice president. I'll be on the DBA on for another 2 years after our previous election. But I served as the chair of the membership committee for the last 2 years. The membership committee I think is really nuanced because besides planning events to foster membership and to bring in new membership into the community, there's also an administrative aspect of it where you're really managing our contact list, making sure that members are registered, that members are paying their dues, sending out reminder emails, and also trying to resolve issues regarding renewals, cancellations, things like that. So I think there's like 2 aspects of it. There's the committee itself that would work on events. And I know because of COVID for the past 2 years, it's been very difficult hosting events because of the virtual nature of it. Hopefully, fingers crossed that things get better. We would like to do more events together with other bar associations to kind of foster the community and bring additional members in. So that would be a goal for next year. But I think in the last 2 years, what we really worked on is our virtual graduation reception. We worked on that last year, and then this year we did a recorded one. We joined our law student division, so Jasmine, Peter, we're working together on bringing law students together and celebrating their graduation. I think Justice Ventura also volunteered her time and did a video for us. So the committee, we would love new members to come in. I don't know if I'll be chair again next year. I'm always happy to pass the reins along. But hopefully we get to do more events to continue bringing in more members into the community next year. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much, AT. Judge Perez, would you, are you available to maybe say a couple words?
Yes, hi. I'm not gonna
Hi.
turn I'm also in the dark. Sorry.
I hear you.
I was I think I was only involved in the Judiciary Committee. I'm not sure if I was in any other committee. But basically the Judiciary Committee, we try to find ways to diversify the bench both and I guess last year's focus was the federal court, trying to get members to send us their resume and find interest in the federal bench, or basically the young members, try to get them involved in the federal court or the federal defender's work. Because as you can see from Biden's nominations, Schumer's nominations to Biden, they're mostly the defenders, right? The federal defenders and the civil rights lawyers more involved in the federal sector. So I'd like to, of course, continue in the Judiciary Committee and try to, I think we've done great work in the state level to diversify the bench, but we need to work on the federal level, and that would be my goal, to stay in the Judiciary Committee and find ways to get more Latino judges and judges of color in the federal court. I'm not sure who has an interest in it, but we have to start at the bottom. We have to start getting more Latinos and lawyers of color in the federal defenders, AUSA's office, and just in the federal sector, period, to get them to someday be considered for the federal court. That's been my goal for years now, and I haven't been successful because we have not had one nomination to the federal court in a while, since I think Analisa Torres. I think Analisa was the last one.
Okay, well, brick by brick, we'll get there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Judge Perez. Does anybody have any questions so far? I think we're good for now. Okay.
I have a question, but I don't know. My name is Marjorie Rutinel Voss, and I'm located in California. I wanted to start a chapter here, but I talked to Alexis, that you all know, and he told me that it might be better, he talked to you, and it might be better to join a committee. And I am interested in all committees. I will have a hard time deciding, but I already sent my form with a few. And I don't know what do you think? And I would like to hear your train of thought regarding opening a committee or a chapter in California, because I also work in the consulate. So I'm doing the legal work there, and I'm with the consular at that consular level too. So I have direct connection with that, and maybe I can create opportunities here directly and start right away. So I don't know, but I'm open to your guidance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody here probably has different ideas about what's the best way to go about that. And I think what would be best is to come to a board meeting where we can all meet you and we can discuss that area and the ways to do it. But from my instinct, it's hitting me kind of like that's like a membership type thing. If we want to expand membership to other states and go national, it seems like that would fall on the umbrella of membership. But the board definitely, I think would have a lot of great ideas too. So we should all kind of meet with you and discuss that.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm open to anything. Is whatever you think is convenient, then I'm ready to help.
Oh, of course. Thank you. Speaking of which, our foreign attorney committee is, has great plans for next year. So we, as recently, you might have heard that we did a collaboration with the Pucamaima, which is a university in the Dominican Republic, to, I guess, help the foreign attorneys of the DR that want to come here and become admitted attorneys. And so we do want to have more resources and information on our website in the future, and also provide certain panels and discussions with the students in that university that want to know more about practicing here in the USA. So that's another committee.
I chose that one because I am also talking. I mentioned before I attended to one of the meetings with Pucamaima and the bar. That was recently done. So I mentioned that I've been reaching out to Barbary, and they are willing to give some kind of help to new attorneys to pass the bar with their courses, because they have a specific course for foreign attorneys, and they're ready to also chip in, and that's good.
Great. That's
yeah.
That's really great. I think it also makes sense to consider with the membership committee like maybe a subcommittee under membership that sort of focuses on outside of the tri-state area, right, where the bulk of our membership is. So I think that that's something that would be great for you to work on, being on the West Coast as well.
That's good.
Love it. I love it.
Great. Well,
If I
thank you.
may also, I've been thinking because of COVID, we kind of went virtual to do a lot of community outreach things. So a lot of the Know Your Rights presentations were with partnership with organizations, and they were all virtual, right? So when you're virtual, you can be anywhere. So if we wanted to think about, how we can do community outreach virtually so that it can serve both California and New York, that would be great too.
I could definitely help with that. I work with the American Bar Association with the legal orientation program and the Know Your Rights here at the Immigration Justice Project at the border in the detention center, actually, helping the majority of people that wanted to apply for asylum, but we had to go through all the, immigration reliefs. So yes, I'm saying yes to everything.
That's so great. All right, cool. Does anybody else have any other questions? Do any of the other people from the DBA want to make any other last statements that maybe wasn't said before?
Well, can I do something else?
Yep.
So just for membership also, if anyone else is interested in becoming chair, it's probably a good idea that the person is on the board, just because that person's going to have access or should be having access to like the website, including like our administrative details. So if you're interested in joining the committee just as a member, that's great. But if you're interested in being the chair of the committee, then it's probably be better to be a board member. So throwing that out there for anyone here who's going to be on the board next year that's interested in becoming chair, positions there if anybody wants it. But I'm more than happy to also continue doing it too.
Yes, great. And remember, next week is when we're going to have our special election for additional board members and for the officers. So if anybody's interested in that, you can send us an email.
I do have a question about that. So the special elections, I know are for officers, but you don't have to be an officer to be on the committees, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so so for people who are interested in just, maybe they don't want to be an officer, but just like being on the committees, what do they do?
So if you're just interested in being a committee, you can click on that link in the chat, where you can fill out the form to just tell us your interest. But you can also email us or contact one of us directly and just let us know that you're interested in a committee, which committee you're interested in. And then once we have the chairs appointed by the board in our next meeting or in the meeting after, then we will reach out to everybody who was interested and start to put together events and discussions related to those committees.
So I just want to clarify something too. Then the right contact will be in the website, or you're going to provide it here, like for you guys? Because I know you are in the website too. Each of you, many of you are. So yeah. I can directly contact you through there. Is that what you're saying?
You can contact us, or the DBA is what I mean, the Dominican Bar Association, at our Gmail address, which is dominicanbarassociation@gmail.com. Or you can contact us through the website, there's a form to contact us if you just want to submit a web form, which will go to our email. But if you know me on social media, you can just reach out to one of us. If you know us directly, you can do that too. It's however you know us, whatever you think is more comfortable for you.
Sure. And can you say when is that meeting? Do you have a date already, or it will be on the calendar as we found this meeting?
It's next week. It's on Monday at 6:30.
Okay.
Special election meeting. So we know you're interested, so we'll just send you a link. Yeah. And if there's anybody else who's interested, they just have to contact us.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
I just wanted to add one thing. For anyone who's on the fence about joining committees, because we talked about, right, the contributions to the DBA. I think it's also important to highlight that being part of the committee is an opportunity to develop yourself professionally in whatever practice area that you specialize in. The goal that we're all striving is to, become subject matter experts, right, in our own specific areas. And this is really like an opportunity to do that and to branch out and create partnerships like the ones that were discussed today. So I would say that that's like a really great, benefit of being a part of a committee. And, if that's something that you see in your future or you value and kind of want to see develop more, I think that's like the great, perfect way to do it.
Yeah. And I see Jasmine, I think you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a
Okay.
quick question. If we want to stay co-chairing a committee, do we get to stay on it, or do we have to like officially apply to co-chair that committee again?
I mean, the board members could correct me here, but I think if you're already in a committee and you want to continue co-chairing it, you probably will, unless somebody else wants to be the chair. And then we would just, we have a discussion whether you guys want to co-chair or does somebody want to step down and maybe do something else, but it's very flexible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I want to stay co-chairing my committee. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to co-chair with whoever else wants to join. I think, obviously the law student and young lawyer committees are very vital committees, and I'm hoping that we get more people, but I would like to stay on those committees. So I did fill out the form you sent out. So yeah, I guess you'll let us know.
Yeah, we'll be discussing it at the next meeting as well, once we have all the names.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one quick question.
Mhm.
I know a couple of the members have mentioned that they were involved in multiple committees, but I don't want to be overzealous and then like start joining a bunch of committees and then not be able to help out. So do you have a suggestion for how many you would say we should look into?
I mean, it really depends on the person and the time commitment that you have. I mean, I've been involved in like 3 committees at once and it was fine. I don't know, it just kind of depends on your workload and how demanding each committee is, whether you're going to be a chair or whether you're just going to be a member and help out as when you can. I don't know if it's hard to give a maximum, but maybe if this is your first time in a committee, start with 1 and then branch out and see if there's other ways you can help. I don't know.
Can I add to that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think also too, if you reach out maybe to the co-chairs and ask them about the goals for the year, then you'll have an idea of what the expectation is for you and like how engaged you need to be. Because I really do think, like everyone else said, the committee is based on the goal or the goals that they have for that respective year. And depending on that will depend on, I think, how engaged and how much time you need to put into that committee. So maybe another suggestion can be you reaching out to the person who co-chairs the committee and asking the goals for the end of the year and like how engaged you need to be to help out with that committee.
Right. And then how that happens is once you tell us what you're interested in, then we can tell you whether certain committees have a chair or if there's a vacant chair position available that maybe you want to take on. And if there is, then we'll have that discussion and let you know about what it would entail to be chair, or if you just would rather join a committee that already has a chair and just kind of help out and participate in that.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, well, I think that calls it. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope this was informative and I hope we got you excited about joining a committee. Again, the link is in the chat. I will be posting it in our social media bio links, and it'll be, if we can work it, hopefully tonight, it'll be on our website as well. so that you can share it with anyone you think may be interested in joining a committee and joining the DBA. And let's all just go do great work. So thanks again and have a great night. Bye.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you,
wonderful
everyone.
night.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jamal. This was great.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.